People who are interested in practicing and applying the timeless principles of leadership. We've got to be more than leaders. We have to be gutsy leaders. My husband and I have had the incredible opportunity to learn from, consult with, talk about, write about 30 or so companies that are filled with gutsy leaders, people who are interested in doing whatever they can to hold on tight to gifted people, to talented people, because you have to. You absolutely have to. So, with that in mind, what I want to do is just kind of get personal with you for just a minute. I suspect that after this incredible day, some of you feel like you've been affirmed. You're doing it. I mean, you're where you need to be. You heard about these principles and you're feeling good because this is what you've been doing. There are others of you who might be feeling a little bit overwhelmed at this point, feeling like, man, you know, I haven't quite cut the mustard on that one. What am I going to do? I'm here to say it's okay. It's okay, because the most important thing about you right now, right here today, is not where you've been. It's not the fact that you've done this stuff before, or it's not the fact that you haven't. What it is it's where you're going. That's the most important thing, and you have had the opportunity to learn so many things today. Now it's about applying them. So as you walk forward in your journey of practicing gutsy leadership, these timeless principles, what I hope you'll keep in mind is this: the talent around you is going to calibrate the appropriateness of their behaviors by first and foremost watching you. Gutsy leaders have got to realize that how they respond to critical incidents is gonna make a difference. USAA is my example on this one. USAA is a little insurance company based in San Antonio, Texas. Not all that little anymore. It's a $71 billion company. Started in 1922 because military officers who were flying those big jets couldn't get insurance, so they decided to create an association so they could become insured. Today, it's a financial services giant. Bob Davis runs USAA. We got to know Bob Davis, who's the chairman of the company, and he is a highly decorated Army officer, retired. Last year in October, I live in San Diego, California. It was a surreal experience. Unbelievable. You would not know San Diego in October of last year because of the fires that encroached upon our city. It was scary. Bob Davis realized in watching the TV that a number of his members live in the most devastated areas in San Diego, California. So what did he do? He got out of his comfort zone of San Antonio. He brought along his leadership team. They got on a plane. They couldn't even land in San Diego because the smoke was so thick. So they landed north of San Diego. They drove down, and Bob Davis spent a week, literally, plowing through the rummage of people's lives that have been burned to the ground. And what did Bob Davis discover? Their policies weren't good enough. He discovered that they typically give people about 12 months to get out of this state of disorientation. Let me tell you something. Bob Davis reported this to us, or shared this with us. He said it was an unbelievable experience to be in a store with one of our members who had cash in his hand. This was an effort to help him get some of the things that he needed. A grown man broke down in the middle of a department store standing right next to Bob Davis and said, I have no idea where to begin. I don't know if I should buy socks, or I don't know if I should buy a television. We have nothing. So what did USA do? They rallied their partners. They came up with great rental car rates. They created great loan packages. They deferred late payments. They made it easy for their members to pull their lives back. I shouldn't say easy, easier. How you respond to critical incidents, people will calibrate the appropriateness of their behavior by watching you. It wasn't just Bob Davis. One of their employees at USAA by the name of Deborah Patterson discovered that one of their insured, one of their members in property and casualty worked at the World Trade Center, and he had no life insurance. So what did she say? She said, you ought to consider it. He said, I've been thinking about it. What do I do? She said, it's easy. Just do this, this, and this. Take these medical exams, fill out this paperwork, take these tests, and send in your first month's premium payment, and you're there. By September 1 of 2001, that USAA member had completed everything except he hadn't sent in his first month's premium payment. 11 days later, 2 planes crashed into the two towers, and that USAA member died. Coincidentally, his widow arrives at the ground zero location and looks for the USAA crisis response team. She says, "My husband was in process. I have no idea where he is with it. Can you help me?" They discovered just what I told you. Everything had been done but the first month's premium payment. Jim Middleton, the president of Life Insurance, said, "You send in that first month's premium payment." And they paid out a $150,000 life insurance policy for that woman. That's gutsy. That's responding to critical incidents, and the only reason why Jim Middleton was able to do that is because he calibrated the appropriateness of his behavior by watching Bob Davis and living their values out loud. What is gutsy leadership? It is having the wisdom to surround yourself with very gifted, talented people. Then it's having the guts to do whatever it takes to keep them, to create a place where they want to work and where they choose to stay. And then it's having the faith to step out of the way and let them do what they're gifted at. Gutsy leaders are going to re-recruit employees like crazy. You don't always have the freedom, nor do you have the luxury of inviting in the right kinds of attitudes. So what are you going to do with those people who you first did invite in and you really felt like they had the right kind of attitude, they had the passion, they had what you thought it took to be successful operating, running, working within your store. And for some reason, they lost the passion. They don't seem to have it anymore. The motivation is down. Well, we've got to give people each and every day a desire to want to come back to work. It's our job as an owner, it's our job as a leader, it's our job as a manager at the end of the day to say, "Hey, well done. Hey, let me tell you where you added value here today." People need that kind of affirmation. We believe gutsy leaders know that people watch how those leaders spend their money. The most incredible example of a gutsy leader who knows absolutely the power in the way that he spends his money is Dr. Jim Goodnight. He is the co-founder and the chairman of SAS Institute. SAS is based in Cary, North Carolina. The most profitable, the most successful private software company in the world today. $1 billion company. They have close to about 9,000 people. Dr. Goodnight has created a country club within which his people get to work. Why? If you've read the SAS story, if you know the SAS story, one of the things that you need to, that you're sensitized to, that you realize in reading the story is the perks are unbelievably extravagant. It's a 35-hour work week. There's on-site massages. There's piano music in the cafe. You can eat lunch with your kids because there's 3 daycare centers on campus. There's an on-site health clinic with 11 nurse practitioners and 3 full-time physicians. There's a 36,000 square foot athletic facility. And by the way, if you work out, your sweaty workout clothes will be laundered overnight for you. They don't give you any excuses not to live a big life. But what happens to be missed when you read the SAS story or hear the SAS story is a lot of people walk away and say, "Wow, he's a nice guy." Well, yeah, he is a nice guy, that's a given, but that's not why Jim Goodnight does it. What Jim Goodnight does it for is this. He realizes that his primary job as a leader at the end of the day is when his people are driving away, he has got to give those people a compelling reason to want to come back to work the next day. So what he does is he literally frees his employees from the daily distractions of life. And we've all got daily distractions in our life. Life doesn't happen before 8 o'clock or after 5 or on the weekends. Life happens when it happens. So what Goodnight has done is surrounded his people with experts who are there to assist his employees in living life, but when they're working, they're freed from those distractions and they get to work. I spent about 5 days in Cary, North Carolina with SAS people. And when I was talking to IT people, I was talking to software engineers, I was talking to all those technical folks that developed that incredible software. They did not mention the M&Ms. They did not mention the athletic facilities. They did not mention the health care. What did they talk about? The work itself. That's what they're passionate about, and Goodnight understands that. The studies show us that people want to know that at the end of the day, their job made a difference. They want to know that what they did, how they invested their gifts and talents, they want to be fulfilled by that. They want to walk away knowing, I made a difference, I added value, I did this, I did that. And sometimes they forget, in the midst of the chaos, in the midst of the busyness, in the midst of serving the customers, in the midst of getting an order out, in the midst of, tracking the billing, they forget that what they did added value, and that's your job. You can affirm them, you can recognize them, you can change that for them. Why is this point so important? This point is critical because I think it will make you different if you embrace this philosophy. I think what this means is you got to put employees first and customers second. Fortune magazine asked if Herb Kelleher was one of America's best leaders, and you know what? Fortune's an incredible publication, but we wanted to know from the people of Southwest Airlines. So we asked thousands of people, is Herb one of America's best leaders? And let me tell you what they said, absolutely. We said, why? And they said, because Herb would never ask us to do anything that he wasn't first willing to do himself. Busiest day of the airline industry happens to be what? The Wednesday before Thanksgiving, when everybody is flying to their Thanksgiving holiday plans. In-flight scheduling has complained to Kelleher for years that that is the most difficult place to be within the company, or one of them. That's the department that schedules all the captains and the first officers to get in the cockpit and fly everybody to their holiday plans. And they say it's amazing how many captains and first officers call in and want to rearrange the schedule last minute. So you know what? Kelleher spent an entire day in in-flight scheduling. Think about it. What happens when a captain calls in and gets Herb on the line? Little different conversation, huh? Hey, Kelleher, just checking in to make sure everything is as planned and on schedule. I'm there for you, buddy. Yeah. Well, those things did happen, but here's the deal. This is what I want you to think about. Do you think that Herb Kelleher spending a really long, it wasn't a convenient day for him, it wasn't at 9 until about noon, it was early until well past midnight, that's just the way he operates. Do you think that he fixed anything at all within in-flight scheduling on that day? Did he fix anything? The answer is no. You're shaking your hands no. But what he did is he felt it. Leaders understand that when they step out of their comfort zone and step into the uncomfort zone of their people, when it's the toughest, when it's the most frustrating, that's servant leadership. You don't have to fix it, but if you feel it, not always, but most of the time, you'll fix part of it. You'll re-recruit. We call it re-recruiting your great talent. Your job as a leader is to constantly find ways to re-engage your people. How you spend your time is going to make a difference.